Today is the 2020 year in review video. I do this video every year to go over all the stuff I reviewed, to see if I've changed my mind about anything, if there's anything that's worth updating, or maybe if there's a humorous backstory on something that I think you might like. Plus, I think it's fun to see like a greatest hits of reviews for the year. Something to point out, like every year, I did 147 videos this year, and 96 of them were non-review videos. So please, if you could, check out my other videos like guitar repair, sharpen my axe, my podcast, because that's the majority of the channel. Although I love reviewing gear, it's not the only thing we do here, and I want to thank the patrons for making that possible. That being said, I still did a review a week, so let's see what I reviewed and what I think of that stuff now. The first review I did this year was the Shijie. Now, this is a guitar that was pretty expensive and it's made in China. They sent a bunch out to some larger YouTube channels, and you guys were talking about it on the podcast and sending me emails asking me if I'd seen this. So when Shijie sent me the email, I recognized the name and responded to the email and said, let's check it out. Let's see what it's all about. And I have to admit, it's one of the best playing necks I've ever felt. It's a really impressive guitar. The only downsides that still I think about it, not only in the video, but since the video, is they have no real distribution here in the US. You have to buy it from like AliExpress. It's a little bit hard to deal with them that way. And I was hoping they would kind of figure that stuff out. It seems like it's gotten a little worse, but good news is they are working on it. And I think they have a new Telecaster coming out. So maybe we'll get to experience that in 2021. The next video I did was the Gibson Les Paul. Let me grab that one. This was the Gibson Les Paul Classic that I got from American Musical Supply. This Les Paul is also called the Lite because it is super thin like an SG. This Les Paul is everything I love about a Les Paul. The way it looks, the way it sounds, the way the neck feels, and everything I hate about the Les Paul, which is heavy as hell, is gone because this is really nice and light. This is 7.5, 8 pounds. Sounds, plays fantastic. I think it sounds as good as any Les Paul I've ever played. In fact, I like this so much that I sold off my Chevron Les Paul. Some of you guys know that guitar because I've had it since I started the channel. That was a beautiful work of art of a Gibson Les Paul. Sounded amazing, played amazing, but it was about 11.5 pounds, and I was just kind of burnt out on it. Now I have this. This is the Gibson, the Les Paul I play every time I play a Les Paul. Next one was the PRS SE 594. That was a really, really cool guitar. Nothing really to change other than, like I said in the video, I think if you upgrade the pickups to the 5908s, I think our 5708s, I don't know why I said 5908, sorry, 5708s, I think it'll be an even better guitar. The next guitar I reviewed was the Kiesel Delos guitar. Now, I still love the guitar. I still love everything about it. I'm still thankful that they sent it to me. That was one of those things where Jeff Kiesel and the guys just sent me that guitar. I didn't even know it was coming. They just told me, hey, we're sending you a guitar, and it just showed up. In fact, I only got to travel once this year, and it was to go to a cabin with the family for 2 days. And that's the guitar I took. So that'll tell you something. That's the guitar I took because it was easy to travel with and it played great and sounded great. I still have my Kiesel Vader that I bought last year. In fact, I've become a pretty big Kiesel fan now. The next guitar was a bass. It was the Glary P bass. That was a great video because I wanted to just talk about, you know, the inexpensive basses. If you're a guitar player and you just want a cheap bass, sub $100, you could get into a Glary P bass. That's a great bass. I would have kept that bass. What ended up happening was we gave it to somebody who wanted to start playing bass. So that's where it is now. So we gave it to somebody that we thought could help them make music. And as much as I thought it was cool and I would like to have it in the shop to do projects on, I just thought they would get better use out of it. The next product review was the Music Nomad tools. And that was really fun because I got to try a ton of their tools, and I had tried a few in the past, but this is really like a big exposure to their tools. The F1 oil is one of my favorite products. If you haven't tried it, not only to treat your fretboard, but to treat maple fretboards, maple necks. I mean, it's just great stuff. I use it on everything, and I'm really, really impressed with it. So can't say enough about the F1 oil. Next video was the Impossible guitar, the Somnium guitar. As you guys know, because I've been doing videos with that guitar, I still have that guitar. Everything I said about in that video, still stick with. Great guitar, fantastic. It's made here in the US. It obviously lets you eject out and put in different pickups. And the idea was to do as many videos with pickups as possible, but COVID put a really big strain on that. So basically, what happened with that guitar was I had arranged for a bunch of pickup companies to send us pickups and do some videos. And what happened was a ton of the pickup companies dropped out or decided to back off. And it's either because they were affected by COVID in a negative way, which means they were shut down, or they were affected by COVID in a positive way, which means everybody was locked at home and buying up so much product that they sold out and they don't have anything to ship for marketing. The modules cost me over $1,400 out of pocket, much less pickups and anything else. So you can imagine it's been a tough year. I have pumped out some videos. I will continue to pump out some more, and I'll talk about that and it'll make sense in a second. But the next video was the Fishman Fluence. Obviously I did the Somnium, so of course that's when I started to try to do the pickup videos. The Fishman Fluence were the first ones. I bought some Fishman Fluence, so I bought some EMGs and I did a comparison video. I really like the Fishman Fluence. In fact, I liked them so much I wanted to keep them and put them in a guitar, but I sold them because I wanted to take the money and put it back into that video series to kind of try to keep it going. Like I said, try to fuel that fire. And otherwise I would have kept the Fishman Fluence, without a doubt. The next video was an actually really interesting one, which was the Ibanez YY10 guitar. Now, what's interesting about that video was that was a guitar they sent to me and then it had to go back, and they said they would like to leave one with me. So they sent me a replacement when they came out. The only thing that's interesting to note is I'm using the same camera, the same lighting, everything is the same in both these videos, and as you can see, the new one is not the same color. The new one is more of a yellowish green and not the deep green the first one was. It also doesn't have the same color neck. The new one's neck is kind of yellower, and the original neck was not as yellow tinted. Plus, the original one they sent me had Seymour Duncan labeled on the pickups, and the new one doesn't. The next video was the Lizzie Hale guitar. I think about that guitar all the time, how cool it was. That guitar did go back to Epiphone, like a lot of the guitars. It was sent for the video and then it just goes back to them. And I want to thank them for letting me borrow a guitar so I can do a video, otherwise it wouldn't have been done. The next one was a very odd video. It was the Spark by Positive Grid. And that one is one, because like I said, these are videos about, you know, how did I feel then? How do I feel now? What have I learned? What's interesting about that is there's the company had some controversy, and probably still does a little bit, because of the fact that they were taking pre-orders on that, not shipping things. There was a big debacle. My understanding is it's all smoothed out now. When I released, at the time of releasing that video, I can tell you that most people, and if you look at the comments, you'll see too, most people started receiving the amps they were promised, which is why I did the video. I wanted to basically do the video in the idea that obviously I was curious, but mostly because I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for it. Were like, is it even a tangible thing? Is it even any good? Why am I waiting? Because you could get a refund, and that's what Spark told me. Positive Grid said they issue a refund to anyone. In the end, again, I think like most people, I don't think Positive Grid handled it the best way, but the product did turn out really, really good. I'm really, really liking it. I still use it daily. Feedback, a lot of people were saying because it doesn't have a ground plug on the plug that they're getting some hum. I have no issues with that. So, although I think that's important if you're having that issue. So I'm letting you guys know, if you have a Spark and you're hearing humming, I guess you can contact them and get the upgraded ground plug. The next video was the Kiesel Theos. Let me tell you what I think of this guitar now that I've had it for some time, to bond with it or to not bond with it. I like it so much that I had 4 Ibanez AZs. I sold one. I currently have 3. You guys know I have the mint green one, or surf green I should say. I have the red, the Fiesta red, and then I have the one that looks like candy corn. I forget the actual name of it. Sunset something. And as much as I like them, I never play them. I play this, and I don't plan to keep any of the AZs. Maybe the red one, just for the nostalgia, because I got it when I was in Germany. I bought it when I was visiting Thomann. So, but what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say this. I like this guitar. This is the one I play. Little trick I should tell viewers, my longtime viewers know this. If you see DiMarzio clip locks on a guitar, that means it's, at least I've decided that it's staying. So it doesn't mean if it doesn't have them, it doesn't mean anything, because maybe I haven't had the straps yet, to install it. But once you see it on there, it's pretty much going to stay. Our next video was the Charvel DK24. The Charvel DK24 was black, and now it is not. This is my Charvel DK24 that was custom painted by Paint Huffer. Brian at Paint Huffer did this for me. He had this painted in his shop, and it has my Know Your Gear logo in this, like, you can see it, only can see it sometimes, but it pops out. And then on the back, there's the other Know Your Gear logo, because there's the two logos. And it is absolutely stunning. It's a two-tone blue sparkle. I hope the camera and the lighting pick this up. So, is perfect. The only thing that's been changed is the paint job. I just thought I'd share this. See if I can get on that camera. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. And I can tell you right now, that guitar for the price, made in Mexico with that paint job now, I love that as much as any custom shop Charvel I could ever want. I'm into it for a lot less than I would be into a Charvel custom shop. So there you go. Then I did the Fender FSR, which is Fender Special Run 2-color thin line, which had the Fiesta red on top and the white on the back and sides. I still love the guitar. I did change out the 3-saddle steel bridge to a 6-saddle brass bridge, and I just did it for the tone, and I like it much better now. The next video was the PRS SE Hollowbody II with the piezo system, or piezo system. And here it is. It's still here. This is an interesting guitar because it is really, really good. I have to say, when I did the video, I thought the guitar was great. I really did. I think it's even much better now. It's a guitar that I think, like a lot of people who watched it, look, some people it's not for them. Some people love the guitar. A lot of people out there, a lot of players out there are struggling with the $1,500 made in China price tag. I was too. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We're accustomed to certain products, especially products like affordable products coming out of certain regions of the world. And this was one of those like, hey, we have guitars made over in China so that the price is lower. Man, just, it's an impressive guitar. And even though deep down I don't want it to be. So I don't think I can get any more honest than that. I don't want it to be an amazing guitar, but it is. The next guitar that I did was the Schecter C1 Exotic. I love that guitar. It played amazing, it looked amazing. It was definitely one of the highlights of the year for guitars. As you guys, some of you might know, I was part of the Great Guitar Build-Off this year where Crimson Guitars sent a kit to a bunch of YouTube channels, and then we built the kits and auctioned the guitars off for charity. I did mine with Paint Huffer. That's who painted my guitar. Like the guys at Texas Toast had a special person come in and pinstripe their guitar to get some excitement. I thought, man, let's get some excitement. Brian and the guys at Paint Huffer, let's get the guitar painted. So I got it sparkle painted, and they did a fantastic job. Joe at Paint Huffer, who did the paint job, was telling me, we were talking, and I said, oh, do you play guitar? And he said, yeah, I do. I just don't currently own any guitars. I sold them when I started painting, and I don't own any anymore. So I gave the Schecter to Joe. So that's what ended up happening with that guitar. I thought, you know what? I gave him that guitar, and I thought, let's get him playing guitar again. I couldn't think of a better thing to do with that guitar than give it to somebody who could possibly make music with it. The next one was a review that I didn't know I was going to make, which was Nathan, my buddy Nathan, some of you guys know this, built this for me, or I should say refinished it and redid it. This was originally a custom 24 hardtail, and Nathan and 20 employees at PRS worked with him off the clock and did this amazing work of art for me and sent it to me as a gift. And I'm still blown away, still trying to process it, and I still in love with it, of course. I don't know what else you could say. This guitar is the most beautiful PRS I've ever seen and will ever see. And that's how that will go. So there you go. Thank you again. Whoops. Thank you again, Nathan, and everybody at PRS that helped Nathan. You guys are amazing, and that guitar will forever be the guitar that I love. The next video was the Crimson Guitar kit, and of course that was the Great Guitar Build-Off, and of course I don't have the guitar anymore because we sold that guitar. And what's great is I sold that guitar, the Beer Caster, which is a Crimson guitar I built the year before from a kit, and of course from you guys doing donations and some extra money that I donated as well, we were able to raise over $10,000 for Guitars for Vets this year. I'm very happy. Definitely a highlight of the year. And I'm glad I was able to do that. And I was glad you guys made that possible. So thank you guys so much for everybody who helped do that. The next was the Friedman twin sister amp. The twin sister amp was loaned to me by Friedman Amps. I absolutely loved it. In fact, it's one of those situations that hopefully you guys can some identify with. Here's what happened. I have a Dirty Shirley mini head. When I bought that head, I thought maybe I should get the full-size Dirty Shirley amp, but I was like, you know, I'm using it just here in the studio. It's very small in this room. That'll be enough. So I got the Dirty Shirley mini. Then they came out the twin sister and I thought, okay, well now I have a reason to get the full-size head, and so let's check it out. So like I said, the guys at Friedman were nice enough to loan it to me, let me check it out, and here's what I can say about it. I absolutely love it. In fact, I love it so much, I don't really like my Dirty Shirley mini head anymore. The twin sister, in my opinion, has more, it's fuller, has more low end, but not flubby bass, just more low end fullness. Sounded cleaner, it's just a better amp, and as much as I think the Dirty Shirley mini is great, I just like the twin sister more. So what ended up happening? Well, what ended up happening was, obviously I had to give the amp back. So I gave the amp back, and there wasn't any to buy when I was trying to buy them, and this happens. I think some of you guys can relate. So now I'm not in love with my Dirty Shirley mini head anymore. My plan is hopefully to come across one day a full-size Dirty Shirley 40-watt head, and when I find the right deal and the right time, I'll buy that, and then I'll sell off the Dirty Shirley. That's what's going to happen with that. So there you go. This is the ESP-E2 Horizon 3, and I've not only did that video review, but I also used it when I reviewed the Engl, which we'll talk about. This guitar I have permanently tuned down to drop C with some 11 gauge strings. I absolutely love this guitar. So the next video I did was the 2020 Gibson ES335. I bought this brand new from Bazaar Guitar in Reno, and they gave me a great deal. So I thank them for that. Or at least they had a great deal on reverb, so I took advantage of it, I should say. And I love it. In fact, this guitar is a guitar that gets definitely played a lot. This one has, since the video, I did the video because I couldn't wait to get the video done so I could do what I was going to do to it, which is I have flat wounds on here. I have a special set of flat wound strings that I made out of 2 packs. So I used the D'Addario 10 gauge chromes, which are their flat wounds, but I used the first 3 strings off of a standard D'Addario 10 gauge set, and then the last 3 off the chrome. So I don't have a wound G string on this. And that's what I use, half flat wound and half regular strings. Next guitar was the Let's Build the Super Strat. That's the one where I took the Glary guitar and turned it into something different, a Super Strat video. Still love it, and it's a guitar that I don't intend to sell anytime soon or in the future. It was a guitar I wanted to see if I could do, and if I ever do get rid of it, it will be like the beer cast or something like that. It will be for some charitable thing, and it'll be when I decide. Guitars like that, when I build the guitars out of those kits or do stuff like that, I like to play them and keep them for a while because, again, it's just part of the joy of having a guitar that you made. But at some point, if I think it could go to somebody, a worthy cause and a worthy person, I think that's when it's time to move on. But I don't try to rush that stuff. I think that stuff always works itself out. The next product I did was the 2 Notes Cab M. It's an absolutely fantastic product. It's my favorite product of the year for sure. Even though it didn't come out this year, it was my first time exposed to the 2 Note stuff, and I absolutely love it. And in that video, I also reviewed the Mark Malin M preamp, which is a Plek'd preamp. And let me tell you, that preamp and the Cab M is pretty much what I've been using ever since. I'm using those 2 things into headphones, basically. That's it. That's my rig now. Next was the Gibson EVH Wolfgang, the Made in Mexico Wolfgang Standard. That guitar I bought, I think it was an emotional purchase. Obviously, it was definitely like, hey, we were all feeling the loss of Eddie Van Halen, and I'll tell you, I actually, I bought that guitar. I already had a Wolfgang a PV, and I had a Stripe series, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a Wolfgang Standard, and so I bought that, and I like it, and I do. It was a great guitar. I love it. I'm happy I bought it. I'm happy I made the decision. Still have it. It's just a weird thing now because at the time it was therapeutic to buy it. Now it's the reminder that Eddie Van Halen died. It's weird how that works. I did it so I wouldn't think about that or be negative in my head about that. And now when I see it, that's what I think about. It's kind of a weird thing. So if I ever get rid of it, it'll be because of that reason. Because instead of thinking about, you know, Eddie Van Halen, the musician, like I do when I play my other Eddie Van Halen guitars that I owned before he passed away, this one just seems to always be in my head as the guitar that I bought because he passed away. Then I did the Tosin Abasi Larada Allegiant 8 string that was loaned to me by a friend. Of course, it was loaned to me, I didn't keep it. It didn't make me want to buy an 8 string, but I mentioned thinking about buying a 7 string version of that in the video. However, a couple of you guys noted that you have the 7 string and that neck is chunky, and so that really kind of put the brakes on for me. So I don't plan to get the 7 string because I don't like the thicker 7 string necks. So until I get my hands on a 7 string Abasi guitar, I don't plan to get one because I'm a little concerned about that. The Engl Fireball 25. That was my favorite amp of the year. It sounds great. It's built really well. It's modestly priced. So, you know, some people are gonna like it's expensive. Some people think it's cheap. There's both comments on that video. What I will say, it's moderately priced. What I mean is a made in Germany amplifier of that quality with that many features in that price point is definitely par for the course. In other words, you're not seeing a whole lot of companies charge a lot less for something in that degree. So very cool. The Lawrence Petros LPD 87 Deluxe Overdrive, that pedal is fantastic. Like you've heard me say, I really don't use a whole lot of pedals. When I do like a pedal, I use that pedal all the time. In fact, I can tell you right now, I've said this many times, my pedal boards have been like the same since like for the last 5 to 6 years. They've just been the same pedals on the board. The LPD 87 Deluxe is definitely a pedal that's going to be on my board going forward for a long, long time. I'm not getting rid of that pedal anytime soon. And I do have the original 87, but I like the new 87 Deluxe more. It does everything I want, and you'll continue to see it on the channel and other videos. The next video I did was the Plek'd Squier. That's when I bought this Squier from Sweetwater and then had them Plek it as a curiosity point to see if plecking an inexpensive guitar, obviously $250 Plek job on a $200 guitar, to see if the guitar would play great. The guitar does play great, as I said in the video. Nothing to note other than a side note that was really interesting. In the video, I said they did a 3-pack of D'Addario strings and I only got 1 pack, so I go, they used 2. Well, it's because as many times I've seen the Plek machine, I never seen this. The guitar originally came with 9s. So what happened was they had to take the 9s off, put 10s on, put it in the Plek machine to do diagnostics, take those strings off, and then put a new set of 10s on. Usually when I see Plek machines, they're in factories, so they don't need to go through all that. so that's why there was they used 2 packs of 10s. I just thought that would be cool to share and fantastic. What are we going to do with this guitar? I have no idea. Suggestion from a patron was to do a Sharpen My Axe. Obviously, Sweetwater's Plek machine already did all the great playable stuff, so it'd be like maybe upgrade the pickups and the bridge and a couple other things and do something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Put a suggestion down below what you think. Last, for the end of the year, the Lag Hyvibe guitar. This was a guitar that I was super interested in. I saw Ola England's video, and I very rarely has this ever happened that I've seen a YouTube video and I'm like, I need to get that guitar on the channel. I need to see this guitar. I was so curious about it because after seeing that, I'd done the Tone Wood Amp video and I was like, okay, I'm really curious if this guitar does, you know, what it's kind of saying it does. And I figured, okay, let's find out. So the guys at Hyvibe sent the guitar out, and I have to tell you, when I first got it, I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool. And then I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't do anything for me. I was like, I don't know, is this thing's kind of, you know, I don't know if how long can you keep playing? You know, how long do you need effects on acoustic, a looper? And then this is what happened. I kept going back to it every day, going back to it. And not only to do the video to kind of explain and do the review, but also just because I was enjoying it. And at some point, it just hit me. I'm like, I'm playing this thing all the time. In fact, in 2 weeks before I did the video, I just kept playing it all the time. And since the video's posted, I'm still playing the crap out of this guitar. There you have it. That's my 2020 gear year in review. If I left the video out, it's because nothing had really changed or I had no additional information to give you. I want to take a second and thank every single one of you for supporting the channel. It's a great community and I'm so glad to be part of it. I hope you guys are glad to be part of it too. As always, I want to thank you so much for your time. till the next time, know your gear.